In a world where secrets shape destinies, a storm brews beneath the surface of international relations. Recently, classified U.S. intelligence documents surfaced online, allegedly revealing Israel's strategic plans for a military strike against Iran. Marked top secret and dated mid-October, these documents detail significant military preparations in response to Iran's missile attacks. As the U.S. investigates this potential breach, questions arise. Was it an intentional leak from within the intelligence community or a sophisticated hack? The leak may have profound effects on the Middle Eastern geopolitics and threaten to alter the fragile balance of power in the region. Welcome to Think Tank.
Our world is becoming unhinged.
A recent leak of classified U.S. intelligence detailing Israeli military preparations against Iran has sent shockwaves through the international community. This revelation has the potential to significantly impact the relationship between the United States and Israel, as well as the delicate balance of power in the Middle East. Join us as we delve into the implications of this revelation, exploring the potential consequences for regional stability, the future of the U.S.-Israeli alliance, and broader geopolitical landscapes.
A crucial question is echoing through the U.S. defense and intelligence communities. Who leaked Pentagon documents detailing Israeli military preparations against Iran? The documents, allegedly from the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency (NGA), were meant to remain classified and shared only with Five Eyes Alliance (FVEY), comprised of the US, UK, Canada, New Zealand, and Australia. However, a pro-Iranian Telegram and X-channel account made these documents public. The newly appointed Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, has announced a closed session to address the leak. These documents reportedly reveal recent Israeli occupation Air Force activities, including the transfer of munitions for potential strikes on Iran and large-scale training exercises involving reconnaissance and fighter jets. U.S. officials are investigating whether this leak was intentional or resulted from Iranian hacking, inadvertently confirming the document's contents. As the U.S. seeks to identify the leaker, urgent questions arise about how this will impact Israel's response timing and strategy. Furthermore, the implications for U.S.-Israel relations and intelligence sharing are significant, especially as both nations navigate trust amid its ongoing regional tensions. The leak raises critical concerns about the future of their strategic partnership and the possibility of U.S. influence over Israeli occupation forces' decisions. Additionally, it is essential to explore whether the U.S. has implemented any additional counterintelligence measures to prevent future leaks and to consider the reactions of other countries involved in the Iran nuclear deal.
As tensions escalate in the Middle East, a significant intelligence leak has sent shockwaves through diplomatic circles. In this interview, we explore the implications of top-secret U.S. documents revealing Israel's military plans against Iran, with Dr. Mohammed Al-Masri, a security affairs expert, and Mohammed Abu Shama, an Arab and international affairs journalist. Thank you both for joining us and helping us unravel whether this breach was a calculated move from within the U.S. intelligence community or a result of a sophisticated cyber operation. Together, we will examine Israel's potential response to Iranian conflict and the broader ramifications for the U.S.-Israeli relations and regional stability. Thank you both for joining us. Let's start off with Mr. Al-Masri. What are the key details that have been revealed in the leaked U.S. intelligence documents, and how has this or could this affect the Israeli plans in general?
Welcome to you and to all of your audience. I believe this is in relation to the leaked document on the plan on state attack Iran, if this is your question. I think this leakage came from inside the United States, and it has two paths. The first path, in order to hinder the strike against Iran until the US elections are over, or there are other entities leaking this to practice pressure against Iran in order to stop their demands. So, despite of the leaks in the wars or even in the disputes between countries, the psychological warfare exists, leaks exist, and intelligence play an important role in conveying the information indirectly to the journalism in order to make such tensions. If we're talking about a leakage, I do not think it will affect the situation of the state of occupation, and they will direct a strike against Iran the upcoming period because it's a respect. That's why they have to deter. That's why they consider that Iran is the main confrontation, not the militias in the region.
Okay, Mr. Abu Shama, what
إذن
may
سيد
be
أبو شامة
the implications of the leaked US intelligence documents on Israel's military preparations affect their preparations against Iran? Mr. al-Masri had spoken about the idea that this may not affect or deter Israel from attacking Iran, but it certainly must affect them on the ground when it comes to planning.
بداية تحياتي لحضرتك والسادة المشاهدين.
السؤال
تسريب الوثائق
I think these السؤال ليس لك سيد
هذه اللحظات شديدة الحساسية التي تصاعدت فيها الأحداث في الشرق الأوسط.
So this is in relation to the escalation of events in the Middle East. This is really very dangerous.
كما أن
The leakage of the document seems to mainly serve the United States of America more than Iran, because the course of events in the last period confirms that the US attempt to limit Israel's ambition in an expanded strike against Iran was something disagreed upon between the US administration and Benjamin Netanyahu, which will affect the course of events, and it will lead one way or another to this danger that the United States apologized for, which opened the door for two possibilities. Both of them are painful for Israel.
Okay, Mr. al-Masri,
ability is that the US administration.
Yes, please go on, sir.
The first possibility is that the US administration is the one behind the leakage, and the second possibility is that Iran managed to hack the security devices of the United States and obtain these documents, which was repeated with the United States for several times in this year only. A few weeks ago, the US security forces announced the hacking of the campaign of Donald Trump, which means that the intelligence ability of Iran are high in this period. In all cases, we can see a strong incident that may be implemented by Iran or maybe implemented by the United States. And what happened will definitely have an effect, and it will make Israel rearrange its cards and calculate its situation. Another dangerous point is that Israel found itself under the scrutiny of the US security agencies. It's under control and under supervision, and all of its moves are under the eyes of the United States, which embarrasses Israel and makes the Israeli-American security relations in tension, which continues the ongoing tension on the size and the form of the Israeli expected strike against Iran in response to Iran's recent strike. There are lots of arguments and disputes on this point between the US and Israeli administrations, and the nature of this strike is not agreed upon yet. And Benjamin Netanyahu, after a phone call with the US president a few days ago, announced that the interest of Israel is a top priority and it will be considered, which shows that there is a gap between both administration, and the leakage of this document is a one way to express this disagreement.
Okay, if we could move to Mr. Al-Masri, how significant is this leak in terms of its potential impact on regional security dynamics in the Middle East, given the nature of the leak and it has to do with like military plans?
This leakage, one way or another, happens in every region. It doesn't show that there's a credibility for the United States of America, especially if they leak information related to a very strong alliance like or ally like Israel. So if they cannot keep the secrets of an allied state, as we said, it's a strategic. They are in a strategic alliance. How anyone can deal with the United States? Before, lots of information were recorded by the US administration or CIA. So this document, if it's right or accurate, of course it endangers the relation. But because they are in a strategic alliance, we can see a field coordination, and Biden said that I already know about the place at the time of the operation. That's why both countries, through their own ministers of defense, agreed on this. I think this operation is about to be implemented, but in the right time, especially that the state of occupation frees the potential of Iran, and Iran is waiting for the next strike, and they cannot interfere in the course of events happening in Lebanon to help its friend Hezbollah. This leakage has other repercussions in the region. As you said in your question, the regional states believe that the expansion of the current conflict will affect the stability and security of the whole region, especially for the neighboring states to Iran. This is very important because the military operations happening in Lebanon is an introduction to the expansion of the war, and the expansion of the war is not in the favor of any country in the region, is not even in the favor of the Palestinian cause, because the expansion of the war will be at the cost of or at the expense of the people in Gaza. Especially they are being displaced and killed and even burned alive in their tents. What happens is relevant to the course of events of the war taking place in the northern Gaza and southern Lebanon. So if the war is expanded, this will highly harm the whole region. There might be other parties being included or involved in this war.
Okay, my question now is to Mr. Abu Sharma. How do these leaks affect the current security situation in the Middle East, in your opinion, especially when it comes to Israeli-Iranian tensions, the tit-for-tat situation that's already happening?
In fact, this slows down the pace of escalation, but it will never hinder Israel from striking Iran or from stopping the operation of Iran in a fire ring, as described by the Israeli officials in the past few months. So Israel believes that it's a security requirement to expand this war in order to deter Iran and prevent it from continuing supporting Hamas or Hezbollah and the other Iranian arms in Yemen that one way or another affect the security in the region. Israel will not stop its announced plans that is known for everyone, and the Prime Minister of Israel is really excited for these plans. Since years he have been wishing for this moment. This moment is perfect from his own point of view in order to implement this plan. It's a very bad war that affects Iran. Maybe he has planned to expand in the past few weeks. In this context, there's an attempt to affect or to have an enemy, the current Iranian regime, which has a great echo in the United States, and the current candidate Trump totally agrees with Israel when it comes to the elimination of the nuclear program of Iran and the undermining of Iran's military power to become, from his own point of view, or from an Israeli point of view, makes Israel more secured. This is a very complex issue, and it will not be ended by this move, because Iran has huge military power, and we have seen how difficult it is to achieve the Israeli goals when it comes to the invasion of Lebanon. There are continuous attempts by the Israeli army to enter the south of Lebanon with ground offensives. However, Israel cannot end these battles in a very good way for them, which shows the abilities of Hezbollah despite of all the consecutive strikes against it. But up till this moment, Hezbollah seems to be resilient in its fights in the south of Lebanon. This shows that the perspective.
Sir, before we delve more into this situation, we want to have a look at an infographic about the US leaks exposing Israeli plans. If you could both just stay with us until we're done with the infographic, and we're going to delve back into the discussions about this. Welcome back. We're still on with Dr. Mohammed Al-Masri and Mr. Mohammed Abu Shama. First, let's start off with Mr. Al-Masri. How is Israel currently preparing to respond to the recent Iranian missile attacks, and what strategies might they employ given that there has been information about their tactics that has been leaked?
First of all, it seems that we cannot see the screen in Palestine. And I think you're asking me about what are the Israeli preparations to respond to Iran. We all remember that in April 13 of this year, Iran struck the Israel with many missiles. I think there was a Western power like the United States or France or UK or the United helped Israel to face these missiles, but these missiles still affected military bases. And I think they have 3 layers of air defense, including the Iron Dome. However, all of these 3 layers couldn't defend the Israeli skies. That's why the United States provided support, and they provided THAAD, the most developed missiles in the world and owned by the United States, which I think this is not the real thing. This is not the reality. The reality is that this state is unable to defend its sky. And the day before yesterday, we have seen how a drone from Lebanon, which is very simple drone, reached the residency of Netanyahu and could attack it, but Netanyahu is not at his home, which showed that the Prime Minister of the state of occupation cannot protect his house. How about protecting the citizens? Now the Middle East is moving towards an all-out regional war, and their only solution is to stop the fire on all of the fronts and to sit at a negotiations table to solve the Palestinian cause, which is the main issue in this region. Thousands of Palestinians have been displaced over 7 decades, and it has been under the occupation since 1967 in June. And the Palestinians wait for a solution, and the cause took a political path according to Oslo Accords. And all of these things didn't result in anything. Now the region is in danger, and the thing will escalate even further. Now we are in a need for wise people in the region to look for political solutions. And the problem in the region is not solved with security or with military aid actions. These peoples cannot bear up what they used to bear up since the beginning of the occupation, especially for the Palestinian people. That's why I say, despite of the protection of the Western countries to the state of occupation, they will not be able to stay in this place for the end of life. The solution to this, in order to have a normal existence of Israel in this region, political solution should be reached in order to give the Palestinians the right to establish their Palestinian state with its capital in Jerusalem, according to the borders of 1967, according to the international legitimacy. Israel also has to commit to the international agreements, including Oslo Accords. But after October 7th and after the genocide committed by the state of occupation inside Gaza Strip and the West Bank, and now they are attacking or violating Al-Aqsa Mosque, and the settlers are entering the Al-Aqsa Mosque to practice their own religion. This all shows that the leadership in Tel Aviv are never heading towards peace, and we can see this clearly as Palestinians. We are suffering from this right wing that is very extremist, and we cannot coexist with them, and Israelis think that they have to protect themselves.
Okay, that was Dr. Mohammed Al-Masri, a security affairs expert, and also Mr. Mohammed Abu Shama, an Arab and international affairs journalist. Thank you both for your insights. As the investigation unfolds, the echoes of this intelligence breach resonates through the US corridors of power. Trust hangs in the balance, with the fate of nations intertwined in a delicate dance of strategy and secrecy. That brings us to the end of today's episode of Think Tank. Stay tuned for more exclusive stories here on Qnews. Thank you for watching.